Welcome to everyone here in person today and to everyone who is visiting our service from home. We Unitarians of Lake Norman are an open and inclusive congregation. Our members walk diverse paths to find meaning and purpose, but we are united by our belief in the inherent worth and dignity of all, and by the responsibility to express our faith through acts of justice and compassion. My name is Harvey Wigder. I've been in this congregation for 8 years. In ancient time, I was even congregation president. I haven't been here a lot in the last couple of months, and I'm thrilled every time I come to see new faces. It's just a wonderful thing. We have our minister, Pat Jobe, with us today. He will talk about Job.
It's okay, Harvey.
You remember April, don't you?
Yeah.
Jobe's not you.
He's very Jobe.
He will talk about the poetry of Mary Oliver. We start our service and other activities by lighting a candle inside a chalice and speaking words that call us to that occasion. Please join me in saying today's chalice lighting words, which are in your order of service.
You'd like us to sing chalice to illuminate the world we see. In our search for truth, may we be just. In our search for justice, may we be loving. And in loving, may we find peace.
Pat, do you have some opening words?
I do, Harvey. Yeah. These will be the longest opening words I have read so far, and many of you will hope that that record stands. But before I read these long opening words, indulge a shout out. One shout out for 4 of our folks being at the UU Action Hour on Friday morning. We continue to recommend this. It's always in the newsletter. It's an hour-long Zoom with UUs all across the state of North Carolina. Right now, we are encouraging Governor Cooper to commute the sentences of the 136 men on death row to life in prison. We're not asking him to let them out. We're not asking that their crimes have no consequences. But we believe the death penalty is morally wrong, and I get emotional thinking about it. There is no excuse for the state of North Carolina to kill anybody. If you want the number for the governor's office, Tracy Grimm has it. I have it. We would love for you to call Governor Cooper and say, commute these sentences. Is this thing actually falling? Is that? That's okay.
It has a mind of its own.
Yeah, I understand. I also want to shout out to the work this congregation did 2 weeks ago. We walked together to rescue girls from being trafficked into prostitution and then celebrated Jim Price's birthday. Sue and Jim are in Kansas City, and they send you their love, even though Sue assured me that at 3 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, they would not be thinking of us. And then Thursday night, 6 of us sang and played instruments and offered a house concert at Jim and Gail Arnold's house. Gracious and heartfelt thanks to all who attended, especially Jim Nicholson, who put $1 in my panties. I'm sorry?
Yeah,
That's right. Oh, yeah, I split the money. Yeah, I split the money with the other 5 musicians. Yeah. Good. Alan Davis said he was going to invest his dime. But I also really, really appreciate not only Jim Nicholson, but the band. Alan Davis, George Bain, Eddie Gunn, Mike Alec, and Kamel Bushusha. Now, at this point, I should hush, but where is the harp man? Where are you, Eddie? Eddie, what a night. What a night. Some of the feedback that I've gotten from what happened is that everybody wishes they could have been there. So Mike and I have talked this morning. We're going to do it again as a service. We're going to do joys and sorrows. Thank you. We're going to do joys and sorrows. We're going to do announcements. We're going to do taking up the offering, and the rest of it will be all music. And we hope to do it sometime around the holidays. And instead of doing a 1-hour service, we'll do a 2-hour service, and we'll give you plenty of warning in case you think you can't endure 2 hours of us. These long opening words come from George Boehm. They're written by Jonathan Bird. And George, he's a friend of yours, is that right?
I have met him. He is a singer-songwriter that lives in the Chapel Hill area.
Okay. Jonathan wrote, "Rest in peace, Mary Oliver. There is no flag flying at half-staff for poets, and governments do not care much for poets. Poets don't care much for flags either, nor the insecurities they soothe with their soft flapping. Mary Oliver cared about each little brown flag of last year's beach leaves, sighing their clittering death rattle into the wind. She cared about clarity. Though she never met me, she cared about me. She told me, and all of us, over and over, that we belong. She told me that if there is any knowable God, it is on the earth and in each other. The church told me I was an alien here, that I was somehow different from all the creatures and plants and rocks and waters of the earth, that my home was somewhere far away. Mary reassured me that I was as natural as the woodchuck. She agreed with me about the strangeness of modern life, about the absolute insanity of homework when there was a whole planet to be explored. She told me there is no nothingness, but there might be an end to consciousness. That is the value of poetry, the value of reading, the value of an education. It's not about finding a job. It's about finding meaning in your work. It's not about being smarter. It's about being accountable. I wish I could have met Mary. I'm not sure what I would have said, and that is the way with meeting famous people. Maybe I would have memorized something like what I've written here and recited it as if I was meeting some head of state. Mary was more important to me than any head of state. Athlete, scientist, musician, or any celebrity you can name. I might have cried and hugged her, and I'm sure she would have been uncomfortable with the whole thing. I am not very famous, but famous enough to know that the art is not the artist. Thank you, Mary Oliver. Somewhere in the somethingness, thank you for leaving behind a meticulous map of important things. The call of the wild geese over here, the white fire of the stars up there, the dark skirts of the earth down there. You said you read Rumi every day. I read you every day. The earth was your beloved. Now you are together. You are never apart.
If you have a family member that's thinking of being a poet, you might want to suggest a day job. Most of them die penniless in the gutter.
Oh, my Gallic, my Gallic, my Gallic. Law, law, law. In his tribute to Mary Oliver, Jonathan Bird quoted one of her poems. One day you finally knew what you had to do and began. Though the voices around you kept shouting their bad advice, the whole house began to tremble, and you felt the old tug at your ankles, mend my life. Each voice cried, but you didn't stop. You knew what you had to do, though the wind pried with its stiff fingers at the very foundations, though their melancholy was terrible, it was already late enough and a wild night. And the road full of fallen branches and stones, but little by little, as you left their voices behind, the stars began to burn through the sheets of clouds. And there was a new voice, which you slowly recognized as your own, that kept you company as you strode deeper and deeper into the world, determined to do the only thing you could do, determined to save the only life you could save. There are those among us who don't really understand the power of poetry. For you, this Sunday may be challenging, but only 12 days after Mary Oliver's birthday, and in honor of her being the great matron of nature lovers everywhere, let's go on and have as much fun as we can stand. Acknowledged as one of America's greatest poets, she penned such lines as, "Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper?" This grasshopper, the one who has flung herself out of the grass, the one who is eating sugar out of my hand, who is moving her jaws back and forth instead of up and down, who is gazing around with her enormous and complicated eyes. Now she lifts her pale forearms and thoroughly washes her face. Now she snaps her wings open and floats away. I don't exactly know what a prayer is. I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel down in the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which is what I have been doing all day. Tell me, what else should I have done? Doesn't everything die at last and too soon? Tell me what it is you plan to do with this one wild and precious life. She had a 40-year-long relationship with her partner, Molly Malone Cook. She said, "I took one look at her and fell hook and tumble." It was a sweet and tender love story. Cook became her literary agent and is responsible in part for Mary Oliver not only being among USA's most renowned poets, but also among its best-selling poets. She won the Pulitzer Prize in 1984 for a collection of her poetry called American Primitive. The power of her words and images have penetrated hearts all over the world. Such writing can sustain us as Unitarians as we navigate the dark waters of our current news feed. Tell me, what is it you plan to do with this one wild and precious life? Above so many other questions, that one resonates with a kind of ultimate authority. There is a story about the Shoshone medicine man, Rolling Thunder. When a friend of his was confronted with a critical decision, Rolling Thunder pointed at his friend and said, "What you decide now is going to make all the difference." These moments don't come often. You can probably remember 5 or 6 in your own lives that made all the difference. Who did you love? Where did you go to work? What did you risk? Daddy was a poker player. And I'm going to say a little bit more about that in a second. But first of all, I want to tell you a funny story. He told my brother Bill and me, if you don't drink or smoke before you're 21, I'll buy you a new car. Needless to say, neither my brother nor I got a new car. The appeal of the demon rum was just too strong. Too strong. But one day, we were in the car, the 4 of us, Mom and Daddy in the front seat, my brother Bill and me in the back seat. And my daddy said, over the seat, he said, "Now, boys, don't forget, if you don't drink or smoke before you're 21, you get a new car." And my mother instantly added, "or gamble." And then my dad said, "Don't you want them to have any fun?" Talk about a mixed message. But Daddy was a poker player. And Bill and I both learned to play poker early on from Bobby Elliott. Our parents were playing bridge in the living room and the kids were playing poker in one of the back bedrooms. Daddy always taught us never play with scared money. Never play with scared money. Talk about a life lesson. Never go to a poker table with money you can't afford to lose. We might add to that, never put money in the collection basket that you can't afford to lose. Never support FeedNC or On Eagle's Wings or the Heart of the Carolinas Animal Ministry with money you can't afford to lose. Never play with scared money. Talk about a life lesson. But Mary Oliver sounds as though she might challenge that. Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? Will you take a risk? Will you risk helping build a dog fence? Even if you're scared, you don't know what you're doing. I have participated in 8 or 10 efforts to build dog fences, and I still don't know what I'm doing. My brother, Bill, does know what he's doing. So anytime I tell Claudia that I'm coming, she says, "Bring Bill." Doesn't hurt my feelings in the least. I know my limitations. Will you risk volunteering at FeedNC? Doug Wall will tell you right quick, it is work. I bet George Bain will say amen to that. It is work. And I know you can't all do either of these things because of conflicts or physical restraints or whatever. Larry and Regina support the food ministry near their home in Kannapolis. And I will say again how important it is that we have a congregation to support all those efforts. It is important that all of us show up here to support each other in all kinds of ways. Our care committee is now made up of 5 women who are making great efforts to support us, to support those of us who need a ride home from the hospital after surgery. Good job. Thank you. Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? Obviously, Mary Oliver wrote many other wonderful poems, and I commend her to you. Many times her poems come back to us, the reader, the listener, those of us who perhaps feel imprisoned by gravity, who might be lifted into flight by a poem like The Swan. Here it is. Did you too see it? Drifting all night on the Black River? Did you see it in the morning, rising into the silvery air, an armful of white blossoms, a perfect commotion of silk and linen as it leaned into the bondage of its wings, a snowbank, a bank of lilies biting the air with its black beak? Did you hear it fluting and whistling, a shrill, dark music like the rain pelting the trees, like a waterfall knifing down the black edges? And did you see it finally just under the clouds, a white cross streaming across the sky, its feet like black leaves, its wings like the stretching light of the river? And did you feel it in your heart, how it pertained to everything? And have you too finally figured out what beauty is for? And have you changed your life? So there it is, Unitarians of Lake Norman. Have you changed your life? Have you figured out what beauty is for? I asked my son, who serves in the Coast Guard, how he likes his work. He said, mostly I like it, but sometimes I look around at the people and I say to myself, who are these people and what am I doing here? It never hurts to ask. It never hurts to ask. During the talk back, let's consider these questions. Do you know what beauty is for? Has it changed your life? What is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? And maybe even that very mixed message from my daddy. Don't you want him to have any fun? Harvey, come help me. Come help me take this crowd under control.
All right, who wants to help him lose control?
I'm Darla Davis. I read the poem that you read at the beginning about others calling to you, save me, and saving your one precious life. That poem got me through all of the guilt and the anguish of deciding to leave an alcoholic spouse. And that whole idea that you've got to do something, you've got to save somebody, and then coming to the realization that there are situations that there's nothing you can do except save yourself. So if you're ever faced with those, I hope that you find something that gives you the courage to do what you need to do.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That poem is called Journey, by the way. Yeah, by Gary Hall, The Journey. And like Dog said, if you're ever in that situation, it's a heck of a cheerleader for you.
No, I haven't read much poetry since I was an undergraduate in English class. But when listening to you, I decided I'd get a book of Mary Oliver.
Good.
Pay attention to it.
Good. Please. Thank you. That's great.
Anyone else?
I just want to say what a beautiful job you did reading some of your lines. Yes, very good.
I'm sorry, was that $5 or $10 I owe you? Thank you so much. Thank you. That's very kind. Great.
I'm not a person, I'm Sue. I'm not a person that spends a lot of time gazing into the stars or, I do enjoy the beautiful flowers when I see them, and I do enjoy color. But one of the things that she wrote was to be of use. And when George and I were dating, we heard that at a church service, and it meant so much to me that he, for Christmas, made a frame for it and printed it out for me. And it talks about all the beautiful things like pottery that aren't there, the ancient ones aren't there just to be beautiful. They're there to be used, and, he talks about jumping into the muck and, using yourself and, these tools that, are not just to be in museums, but are to be there to be useful to people.
Thank you, Sue. I can sit in.
But not be quiet.
No.
Mike will reflect on today's theme with his music.
Eddie, you got a D harmonica?
Oh, yeah.
That's the second one you buy after C.
It's like when you said to me the other day, you don't drink, smoke, or. No, the other drink and smoke, ultra style language. 10 minutes later, you say, oh, I'm gonna have to see this. Okay, you gonna tell me what we're playing? Or?
Nope.
Oh. Here we go.
I like when you play off the cuff.
Yeah.
It's fresher.
Wild and precious.
And I want Kamal to play on his belly on this song.
We got a drum in
It's in 6/8.
We got a drum in
Yeah? These are looking up.
Mountains rise at the break of day, only to greet you. Diamonds the sun, the blue mountain waters, flowing behind you like the wind, rushing around, all in a swirl like the wind. You know you are the heart of the world. Oh yeah. Chasing you down to the end of the waters, you fly across the ocean, dancing alone as the waves jump to meet you. Now you circle above me, just like the wind, rushing around, all in this world, like the wind. But you know you are the heart of the world. Yes, you are. You come and go with the rushing of ease and of the rushing my door, and I know you were there. How could you hide? Taking a breath from my life. Like the wind, rushing around, all in a swirl, like the wind, rushing around, all in a swirl, just like the wind. You are the heart of the world.
Pretty good.
Thank you both. So I learned something today. Eddie, could you stay here? I always thought there was a harmonica, right? There's a box of harmonicas, one for every key. Did you know that? I just learned it today.
I wish I could do that on low key.
This fellowship is important to all of us. The contributions we make today allow us to sustain and grow our congregation and reach out to the community, both nearby and in the larger world. Your giving affirms our commitment to each other and to the community, and may urge the viewers at home switch briefly to the main page of our website and just hit the donate button to join with the in-person members. With grateful hearts, we receive these gifts. May they encourage us to live lives of integrity, compassion, and peace. We are also grateful to all of the people who make possible our Sunday services, all of our various community activities, and presenting us to the outside world versus the newsletter and YouTube. And that includes everyone here cheers us on by being in these chairs today, that's you guys, or in their even more comfortable ones at home. We have some announcements in the order of service, and we have one particular from Nancy she'd like to make.
Oh, that one. Sorry. I had noticed.
Well, I just want to let y'all know that when we had the auction, I signed up for a French class with Veronique, and now I'm going to be gone for the 4 classes that she has offered. So I wonder if anyone wants to take this opportunity to learn some French from Veronique. There are 3 other people that have signed on, so you wouldn't be all by yourself. But okay, all right.
He speaks French, and I don't know. His
Okay.
family speaks French. I might, I'm not thinking about it.
Okay, all right. If anyone wants to be a backup.
When is,
Okay, yeah, good point. The lessons are October 6, 13, 20, and 27. So 4 lessons in
day?
October.
what day of the week and what time?
What day of the week? What is October? Yeah, I think it's at Veronique's house. I can't remember for sure on that, but I'll look up the details. And Grace, if you want to, great. If someone else wants to
I'll back up.
a backup.
I'll back up.
The existing students are Juan
Mercy,
Tracy,
and Jim and Sue.
mercy.
Tracy, Jim, and Sue, and maybe Grace.
I can volunteer as an assistant.
You don't have to Veronique about that.
Okay. Okay. Well, my phone number, if you want to be in touch with me, is 704-664-0384. And we'll work something out.
Très bien.
I'm glad you're interested too.
So where are we going for dinner today?
Let's go.
So if anybody's interested in social supper, the Fusion Bowl, and how about the movie? Huh. All right.
Harvey, I just got a text from Doug Wall, and he said anybody who also wants to take a French class can pay for it. That's our auctioneer. I don't know what, do you know what you paid?
40, I forget.
40 sounds good. Okay, also, if any of you have phones handy, can I just give you the number of the governor's office? I would just love it if we had 10 or 12 more calls to the
Can I have
governor.
that pen? It's mine.
This
I
number
recognize that.
is-
I go to that pet.
919-814-2000. And it's one of those computer menus, you have to push buttons to get to them, but you finally do get to either an answering machine or a staff member. And they're always very polite. Let me get it to you one more time. 919-814-2000. Asking for to commute the census of the 136 human beings who are on death row.
You also see the announcement about the next animal ministry and next FeedNC. Our closing song today is 188. Come, come wherever you are.
Come sing a
Come
song.
sing a song.
Is it?
Yeah, oh wait,
Whatever.
is
Do
it?
Do whatever you want.
Oh,
You make the announcement.
I had the wrong one pulled up.
No, it's.
So where to come up.
Do that one.
All right,
I'm prepared for
we'll
that.
do that one next time. We'll do Come Sing a Song with Me, which I think is 346.
So which one are we doing?
Come Sing a Song with Me?
346.
340, sorry, guys.
You're out of control.
Yeah, Eddie distracted me with this great playing.
Blame it on
Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me that I may know your mind. And I'll bring you home when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love as in the winter time. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me that I may know your mind. And I'll bring you home when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love rose in the winter time. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me that I may know your mind. And I'll bring you home when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love rose in the winter time. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me that I may know your mind. And I'll bring you home when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love rose in the winter time.
You may be seated. Our closing words come from Harry Truman. He said, I always believe that religion is something you live by and not talk about.
That's very profound. We close our service by extinguishing the light in the chalice and saying together the words in your order of service. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we meet again. Shalom.